Hey everyone, Dan Solo here with the inaugural Simon's podcast. Today we are featuring an interview by Ryan Haggerty of Pi Records out of Philadelphia. He is interviewing Brisbane legends the Glycereens. Take it away, Ryan.
Hello everybody, it's Ryan from Pi Records and I'm here with the Glycereens. How are you guys?
Hey,
Hi Ryan. Very good, thank you.
Pleased to meet you all. Where are you guys coming from?
We're in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia.
This is wonderful. This is the first time I've spoken to anybody in Australia.
Fantastic.
And I was very, very hopeful that you guys would get back to me because it's a part of the world that I think's got a lot going on that people in the States don't know about. Plus, the time difference for us to get together was it's kind of on the other side of the world. So I'm very happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much.
So let's start off by each of you introducing yourselves and what instruments you play.
Who'd like to go first? I'll go first. Okay. My name's Helly, and I'm lead vocals and rhythm guitar.
Okay.
I'm solo. Ish.
And backing vocals.
Backing vocals.
Actually, we all do backing vocals.
Okay, cool.
I'm Nathan. I play bass and a bit of vocals and some high kicks.
Yeah. High kicks.
And I'm Chris. I'm the drummer and backing vocals as well.
Very cool. So there's a lot of bands that sound a certain way coming from Australia. Very rock and roll oriented. But your sound is a lot more punk rock garagey, would you say?
Yeah.
Oh, very influenced by a lot of punk stuff. So yeah, it definitely comes through. But I don't know. Australia's always had a pretty healthy scene of sort of rock and roll and punk and things like that. And we've been influenced by a lot of that sort of those local bands. Bands like Cosmic Psychos and Bored and all of that sort of thing. So, but yeah, we're definitely into a whole lot of other things too. So yeah.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. One of the reasons I reached out to you is because I want to know what the scene is in Australia right now in Brisbane. What's going on there that has you in the community? Like, what is your relationship to other bands in Australia?
I don't know. Australia's sort of not. I think sort of over the past few decades, it's really sort of grown and become very eclectic in a lot of the styles and things like that. You have your sort of your stoner rock bands or your punk rock bands or your whatnot. There's a hell of a lot going on, and I think it's just one of those things where it's sort of just it's a little bit more underground, I guess. So yeah. As for us, I haven't really sort of thought about our place in the Australian scene. We just sort of get out there and do it. So yeah.
That we've made some connections in Sydney and Melbourne by playing gigs there, and then we've made connections with other bands from that area, and then we've invited them to come and play in Brisbane. So I guess that could be a connection that we've made through live shows, playing interstate.
Very cool. How close are you to Melbourne and Sydney in comparison? Like, I know it's a whole continent, but for our listeners and for me, I don't know the relation of where Brisbane is compared to those two cities.
Oh, well, if you're going to drive, you said 12 hours to Sydney.
12 hours and then 24 hours. 24-hour non-stop,
Much
that is.
better to fly.
Wow.
There's about 1,000 from Sydney and 2,000 Ks from Melbourne.
Okay.
Roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your music. You have put some stuff out. Have you put it out yourselves, or have you had somebody help you put it out, get it pressed?
No, we put it ourselves
And where can people find that?
through our Bandcamp page at the moment.
Is it
We only pressed about 150. So if you want it, you better get in quick.
yeah, where does where in Australia, how do you get a record pressed? Where do you get it pressed?
There's a couple of pressing plants in Melbourne.
Really?
One called yeah. There's one called Zenith, and there's a new one just opened up, which I'm not sure what the name of it is. So yeah.
Very cool. So let's talk band influences and gear. Let's go in that direction. So as far as vocals go, it was very reminiscent of the 70s, I would say. Would you say that a lot of influence comes from that? What started out as the Riot Girls stuff?
Yeah, look, in the past I have played in all-girl bands that were pretty much in that genre. I would say the Glycereens is, because the four of us have such individual tastes as well. And we've just, I don't know, just merged them all together. But I am a big fan of Joan Jett, so I do love Joan Jett. And, I guess L7 from the past. But I myself, I love Stooges and Ramones, but there's lots of other bands as well. And, Chrissy, has her different, styles that she likes, and Nathan Soul as well. So
yeah, if you were to ask me what my favorite styles to play are, it's like funk and folk. It's not punk music and rock and 70s stuff. But we all come with such different backgrounds, and our music taste is so wide. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint what we all come with.
Well, Chris, that's an interesting bit there. What would be considered your traditional folk music that you're speaking of? I know every country has its own folk music in story, but what are you speaking to exactly?
I'd say more like bluegrass genres. So I played in a bunch of folk bands and bluegrass bands and country bands for a long time there, and it was just a really fun time. But we played everything from like your more modern folk music like Frightened Rabbit, all the way through to traditional folk ditties and sea shanties and all that kind of stuff. So it's very eclectic background I come from of music. So this band is like exploring all of the punk and 70s garage rock and all of these really cool traditional rock styles for me. Very different.
But what I find very interesting is that it is noticeable that the drums are not they are different. The application seems different, but that is one thing that stuck out as something pretty cool.
Yeah, cool. That's cool to know.
The legend.
I'm a musician myself, so I don't know how you guys listen to music, but sometimes I listen to a song and only listen to one instrument, and whatever sticks out first, and then I'll give it another listen. But the drums stuck out right away for me. Is drums and the vocals. So those were two pretty. It brought me back to my childhood when I would watch the Runaways on TV when they came out. So it was kind of like that, reminiscing for me. So it really brought me back. Nathan, what would you say is one of your influences? What made you pick up your instrument?
Oh, well, actually, funnily enough, it was actually the second band I joined. Like growing up in Geelong, I started playing bass. I bought my first bass when I was 11 with the paper round. A bunch of friends were just starting to play, and it was just like, oh, it looks like a fun thing to do. So, started up a band, and I discovered a band called Warped, who were, in Geelong, where I was growing up, down in Victoria, just outside of Melbourne. And yeah, like that really made an impression on me because they were only like 12 or 13 at the time, and they were out there playing gigs and pubs, and they were really quite good. So it was like quite a mind-blowing thing to see these little kids just playing this really heavy rock music and just sort of melting people's faces. And yeah, that kind of made me go, oh, I really want to be a part of that. And then funnily enough, like the first band I was in, and then also Warped, we kind of both lost members, and then we sort of turned into an amalgamation of Warped. So it was sort of like two members ended up joining, and then yeah, I was sort of in that band for about 4 or 5 years, and that was sort of like during the early mid-90s. So yeah, and yeah, I've been playing for, geez, I think it's like my 30th anniversary now on bass and playing with bands and things like that. Yeah, so it's always been something I just love to do, and I haven't really sort of thought of like, you know, trying to make it bigger or anything like that. I just love playing gigs and hanging out with my friends.
Awesome. So what are you guys doing right now? I know I don't know if you guys are in lockdown or quarantine, but have you been communicating and writing and preparing new stuff?
Yep. Rehearsing every week.
Really?
On a weekly basis.
Oh, that's great.
I'm at work at the moment, so
that's awesome. So what is it like there for shows right now?
Shows are going on, but there's been sort of all sorts of restrictions, and just depending on the situation, those sort of restrictions will kind of, you know, they'll get either tighter or they loosen up depending on what's happening. So I know it's quite an odd thing when you sort of turn up to shows and everyone's required to sit down and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Luckily in Brisbane, we haven't really had to sort of don the masks for very long. Like we only had to do that a couple of weeks ago for a few days when there was sort of when things sort of went a little bit out of control. But like for the most part, you know, a lot of shows and things are sort of starting to creep back in, and yeah, which is really kind of promising.
Excellent.
We didn't do Soul's influences.
Oh.
Oh, Saul. Let's go, Saul.
It's probably because we're in the same square,
That's okay.
Zoom square.
You want to know when it all started, I guess?
Yeah.
I played in bands back in the UK, back in the late 80s, early 90s. I guess the most well-known probably would be the Campus Tramps. That's probably the one that got out there the most, and then gave it all up to move to Australia, and I didn't pick up a guitar for about 15 years after that.
Oh, wow.
Then I hooked up with, you know, the Cosmic Cycles. Yes? No?
No, I don't know them.
Okay. Well, I hooked up with a guitar player from the Cosmic Cycles. It wasn't in the Cosmic Cycles at the time, but played in a band called Boondle Boys, and then played in a band called Happy Times, and then that all fell apart. And then Haley and I got together, and she dragged me kicking and screaming into the Glycereens.
You weren't kicking and screaming.
So I kind of stumbled upon you by accident, but I'm glad I did. But how does somebody from the United States get a hold of you? I just find it amazing that out of all the bands that I could possibly stumble upon, I stumbled upon this great band from Australia, the Glycereens, and it was really by accident. Do you have anything in the United States where people are communicating with you, or you know, reaching out to you about putting out your records or anything?
We have friends in San Antonio in Texas, and also in Boston. I've got other friends in LA and friends in Oregon. So we've got friends dotted around all over the place, really. The friends in San Antonio run a station called Hank's Alternative Radio, and they play quite a bit of our stuff. We've also been on our first record was on their Bandcamp label. Auto Records. Couldn't remember what it's called then. And we've had a couple of reviews in a magazine called Metronome from Boston. So we get about the place. We
That's
just
great.
creep in, you know.
Repeat, that's us.
So the cover, the theme with the mask, where did that concept come from?
Being Atomic Army, well, we had a few different ideas that we were thinking, and then Sol came up with the idea, hey, let's just call it Atomic Army, which is a lyric from the first song, I Don't Care. And then because we've had the aesthetic that we've had with a lot of our branding has been pop art. So I thought, let's keep in that Roy Lichtenstein kind of, you know, comic book art sort of style pop art. We like 60s garage. And then with the Atomic Army, yeah, again, it was like Sol had the concept of the mask. So then Nathan drew up the mask and illustrated the mask, and then I did, you know, just a graphic design, bring it all together, and, you know, the logo and everything, and voila. Album cover.
Pretty much like the songwriting.
It's an impressive logo.
Oh, that's great.
So
now we've had
go ahead.
I was just going to say, we had a lot of feedback just that it's really bright and colorful, because we did release a 7-inch vinyl single for Neon City Lights, and we did a, you know, kind of like a punk rock leopard print, you know, neon sort of crazy kind of colors. And so it's sort of consistent with sort of the theme with pop art and leopard print and that sort of style. I don't know, did you hear that song, the Neon City Lights?
That one I am not sure. I listened to your album that was on iTunes with the yellow one with the mask.
Oh yes.
I should have wrote it down. Yeah, that's
there
it.
We go.
This one.
That's it.
This is the new record, and then this is the 7-inch that we put out. So it's like very different styles. And like Nathan said before, just like our songwriting, the artwork and the themes and that kind of stuff, it's really organic. We're all really creative, really collaborative. So it just kind of happens. And that's what I really like about the band. It's so organic. It's not like it's that structured like that. It just kind of happens and we just go with it.
It sounds like you all, yeah, you all put yourselves into it and do it yourself. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
did you see the video?
I did.
Brian, did you? Oh, great, because that was only just released last Friday, but we did start filming last November or October. No, it's November or December, something like that. So that was took a bit of a while to get that out, but it's out there now.
Awesome. Tell me about your songwriting. Who writes the songs? How do you come up with the ideas? And do you have like a goal in mind, or is it more organic, like Chris was saying?
Yeah, we just come up with an idea, like either Hallie will have an idea, myself, or Sol, and we just sort of like, we kind of approach it in a way where like, we'll kind of just go, hey, we've got this thing, but we kind of leave it open for everyone else to be able to put their piece in there and kind of make it their own as well. So, you know, it's like, I think that's the best thing about us is our ability to be able to kind of just work together and kind of accept each other's ideas and try and really make the best songs we can. So
yeah, someone will bring an idea to rehearsal and we'll just jam it out and see where it lands and give each other feedback on what we do and don't like, and it just happens.
It all comes together.
yeah, sometimes I'll write and I'll have a complete idea for a song, but I don't like to sort of walk into the room kind of telling people how things should be exactly. I kind of like to go, oh, here's the ballpark kind of chords, you know, give people some room to actually put their personality in it. And I think it really kind of shows when you kind of hear the recordings and things like that everyone's pretty into it and invested, you know. So
yeah, it's an aggressive sound, and it's a huge sound.
Yeah,
It's
big fuzzy guitars, and I
Yeah.
play a hell of a lot of bass chord. I do like that.
ringing in our ears because practice is like, whoa, through the roof.
So can I see a shot of those records again? Because I'd like the viewers to see. Now, where can they get these? Can they get them on your Bandcamp?
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
And
I don't think there's many singles left. And there's a few albums left, so point them in the right
Yeah.
direction.
These ones were from our mates down in Sydney. They helped us press them. This is Evil Tone Records that we went through, and they're like a limited release, so they're like bright pink, real sexy neon colors. Because Neon City Lights got to be neon colors.
yeah,
But we have heaps of the albums.
very cool. So how can people get a hold of you? They want to put you in their zine. They want to put you in their on their radio station. How do people get a hold of you? Maybe to spread the word more about the Glycereens.
We can be contacted through our Facebook page, or we've got a email address which you can find. You can find everything on our Facebook page, basically.
Okay.
There's a whole heap of links, and we're easily contactable.
Bandcamp as well has all our social media
Bandcamp
links.
as well,
We have
yeah.
a website, which is just glycereens.com or theglycereens.com.
And I'm guessing you have a YouTube page with your video, right?
Yeah, we do.
That's awesome. Because I saw the link for it, but I didn't recall if it was YouTube or not. But I'm glad I mentioned that. So, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
No, I think we covered pretty much most of it, I think.
Okay, great. Well, I want to thank you guys for your time, and everybody who's listening to this, check out the Glycereens from Australia, Brisbane, and thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks very much,
Thanks,
Ryan.
Ryan.
Thank you.
That's great.
Like the way of the country blood.
If that episode blew up your Death Star, tune in for more next week. Dan Solo signing off.